beautiful, right? But look further. You'll see them. They're a restless bunch in search of beauty. There's the unyielding conquerors that won't take no for an answer. Yep, that's this place. Perfect for those who want a little more. Some people look forward to the destination, while others don't mind a cheeky detour or two in search of a little more.
Hello and welcome to the Shannon's Adelaide Rally 2023, and we are at a brand new stage, the Strathalbyn Town Stage. I'm Dan McCarthy, and alongside me for this stage is Nick Lenthal. This is something pretty special. It's got a big crowd already here.
Morning, Dan. Yeah, it is a fabulous stage. Adelaide has turned on its absolute best spring sunshine weather. Strathalbyn, a town of 6,500 people, I reckon the population's probably doubled today.
Certainly has, that's for sure. There are so many thousands of people here, not only for the rally, but for the Great Duck Race of Strathalbyn.
The Great Duck Race, Dan. Now that is the venture of the local Rotary Club, and of course funds raised from the Great Duck Race, which is one of the big events for today, go to various charities, and in fact the Rotary Club has chosen to divert those funds to providing defibrillators for access to the general public in regional areas around Strathalbyn. So you've got to imagine that you might be in a regional area, it's going to take an ambulance a little bit of time to get to you, so there are points where you'll be able to access defibrillators. I think that's a really worthwhile approach from a local charity.
Oh, it certainly is. Absolutely great to have it going to a great cause, that's for certain. We've just seen the course car going up now. This is, as we say, brand new for the Adelaide Rally this year, street stage. It's the first time there's been a street stage in well over 10 years. It's really cool to have so many people literally right by their houses just watching this awesome event.
And of course, Adelaide's regional towns are just tailor-made for this kind of thing. Strathalbyn, a tourist destination in itself, is part of the Alexandrina Council, which also includes lovely destinations like Middleton and Victor Harbour, and so there's a plethora of destinations for you if you're coming down south. And in Strathalbyn itself, many choices for coffee, dinner, hotels, accommodation. I just Googled accommodation in Strathalbyn and I think I got 50 results almost immediately. So plenty of things to do and see in Strathalbyn. If you're a bit of a classic car buff, you could go and see Ben Finnis at Collectible Classics in one of the side streets in Strathalbyn. Ben, of course, has been a competitor, an entrant in the rally in previous years, and still a keen supporter of the event.
Yeah, certainly is. So Strathalbyn, a bit of history about it. Yeah, it was discovered in the late 1800s. To be precise, it was founded in 1839. Now has a population of 6,500 people, and as you say, it's it's almost doubled here today. The amount of people that are aligning not only the little river that runs through the centre of the city, but also the rally stage as well. Yeah, as you say, it's part of the Alexandrina Council, who've been so supportive of this event. They've thrown funding behind it to help transport to and from the event. Of course, the steam train delivered a good few hundred people earlier on this morning just to come to this town stage and see the dock race as well.
That's right. The Steam Ranger left Mount Barker about 9:30, arrived here about 10:30, just in time for the first heat of the duck race. And yeah, I think it's the hallmark of the Adelaide Rally, is that it does involve so many towns in the Adelaide Hills and in the Southern Vales and the Fleurieu. It really does work very, very well with local councils, local business owners, local residents, to make sure that the rally continues to flourish and continues to add to Adelaide's long list of events that engage the public. I mean, it costs you nothing to be a part of this. There's no admission charge anywhere. You can come down, stand in the street, get your best vantage point, bring your deck chairs, and watch 300 fantastic cars, some of them very exotic cars in the tour categories, and some very purpose-built competitive rally cars driven by SA's best drivers and drivers from around the country. So in a minute we're going to go through those results of how the lead is progressing, and it is probably going to be one of the tightest finishes in the history of the Adelaide Rally. So plenty to talk about there. As you can see, the first of the tour cars just moving up in front of us. I think that was a McLaren, our first car, Dan.
It is a McLaren, the first car in the line. So Zagami cars going out first. These are all your exotic supercars and hypercars that we all dream of owning one day, that a large majority, well, 99.5% of us will never even get the chance to sit inside, let alone own. But yes, these exotic supercars will be taking up the Strathalbyn course in just a few moments' time.
And who doesn't love a supercar? Look, I was down on the banks of the Angus River, which is just to our right as we speak, and Dan and I were taking in all the sights and sounds around there, because being the Great Duck Race, there's a lot of stalls for you to come and have a look at. And of course then about 100 supercars arrived very quietly into the main street, and the crowds just swarmed to the supercars like bees to a honeypot. So it just goes to show the interest level in these kind of cars in SA.
First car has been released. We are underway in the Strathalbyn town stage. How cool is this, ladies and gentlemen, to watch these machines go through? So they start with a couple of 90-degree corners, they have a chicane, and then they make their way over the bridge, which we can see on the screen now, and then they finish with a couple more turns, as we can see from the drone shot. It's a bit of a tricky chicane, that one, as they go off one side street into another. It's not quite as simple as you think. The Porsche there getting a bit sideways around turn number 1, and here it comes now, back into shot through that tight chicane. You can hear it on the power, all gassed up, and then over the bridge off goes the orange McLaren as well.
And Ferrari just moving up to the start as well, another one of our favourites. And so the tour group, the Zagami tour group, moving through well, and as Dan and I were discussing yesterday, this event really has been adopted by dealerships and manufacturers, Zagami being one of them. So they put together their own tour group of their own customers. Their brands, of course, being Lamborghini and McLaren and Bentley, and plus, of course, a plethora of used cars in their frontage on Glen Osmond Road in Adelaide. Zagamis, and look, beautiful cars. They're not cheap. But if you want to go and have a look and just browse around, that's fine. The people at Zagamis are very friendly, and they're more than happy to answer your questions about these absolutely superb motor cars. As I said, we're just on the banks of the Angus River, and you'll see on the live screen the cars passing over the bridge over the Angus River.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's just now as the the yellow McLaren will be going over that bridge right now. And there we can see another McLaren. There's quite a few McLarens aligned, of course, with Zagami. But in total, there's 53 Zagami cars here this weekend, which is just awesome. There you go. That is the end of the stage, just at the top of the hill there that we could see on the drone shot. This is one of our favourites, an old school V10. Not too many manufacturers, of course, make V10s anymore. This is a Lamborghini Gallardo from the late noughties.
Superb sound, Dan.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
We'll let you have a listen to this one take off and accelerate. Sound of a V10.
There it goes, and we can see the white Lambo now heading through the fast chicane. Nice and early on the power and up and over the bridge. And there we go, just completing the course now around the left-hander, the right-hander, back through to the left, sweeping through the streets of Strathalbyn to complete the stage. And then got a Fiat 500 above. There's just so much variety, isn't there? I mean, there's Lotuses, there's Porsches, there's Hyundais, there's Ferraris, and everything in between. There are so many cars out there, all of which I want to own.
There is, Dan. There is enormous variety. Zagama being one of the tour groups, but we've also got the Porsche tour group, the BMW and Mercedes tour groups, and of course considerable dealer involvement in those groups. And it's a great way of mingling with your customer base. It's a great way of marketing your new offerings to them. And as I said, manufacturers and dealerships have really embraced this style of marketing, getting involved with your clients, and just being out and about in a social sense. As we see one of the Hyundais moving up, and the colour, just in case you're wondering what that lilac colour is called, Hyundai classify that as performance blue. Now, I wish it was called something more exotic, but just like World Rally Blue has become synonymous with Subarus, performance blue is the race team colour for the Hyundai World Rally Championship team. And also, you were saying, Dan, their touring car team, is that right?
Yes, yeah, World TCR team as well. It's just going up the stage at the moment. We're just looking at the other end of the bridge. The cars sweep through there at quite some pace. They certainly get some pace over that bridge. Such a cool staging. You can really see it right in the heart here in Strathalbyn. And everybody is watching on, enjoying this, and why wouldn't you? This is just an awesome event. We said from the moment we arrived, there's a real buzz about the place, isn't there? Not only for the duck race, but for the rally, and everybody's supportive of it. Whether you're, part of the volunteer team with the Rotary Club for the duck race, everybody is supportive of each other's event. It's a real collective. Everybody's working together, and making a great event for the region that surrounds Strathalbyn.
That's right, and there really is a buzz about the place, which we'll show you a bit more of later when I get out and about amongst the crowds and have a chat to some of the drivers as well. But it's great the way the local business owners have embraced this, and after all, it's going to be a boon for them as well. They're seeing probably a much bigger crowd than they would on a normal day. Although having said that, and having formerly been a motorcyclist, I can tell you that if you come down to Hammer and Tongs Cafe on a Sunday morning about 10 or 11, when we've all got out of bed, you probably see about 100 motorcyclists down there just having enjoyed their ride through the Adelaide Hills and just sitting down for a coffee. So it really is a pretty destination. A lot of sports car clubs and drivers will come down even during the week just to have a coffee and take in the beauty of the Angus River and the parklands here, which I might add are manicured today. They must have really had the scissors out and about, because the park area alongside the river is looking pristine.
I can't get over this. I'm just looking at the commentary box window. Look at the amount of people that are aligning the stage. Look at that. Behind the Mercedes, how many people are here? There are hundreds at the start line alone. There's markets here today. There's local markets on this Sunday morning. As we say, they got the duck race. All of the shops and the surrounding hotels, pubs, everything is open. Bookshops. It's just got such an atmosphere down here. It's absolutely fantastic as we see the first of the Ferraris roar into the stage. We're now in the second group of Zagami cars. And look at this over the other side of the bridge. I think that's an Aston Martin just going through. Look at this drone shot. That's a bit of a tighter chicane. Just try and slow the cars down, make things a little tricky. This is a bit like a World Rally Super Special stage, isn't it?
It is, Dan, and we were talking about this yesterday. This is really an important aspect of the event because it brings the rally to the people rather than the other way around. Rallying has a habit of going out into the sticks and taking itself as far away as it possibly can from the punters, but it's really, really critical to the future of events and the way they're embraced by local residents and the public generally to bring the rally to the people so they can get an understanding of what this kind of event is about. It's not a circuit race, it's a series of stages which are timed to the second on closed roads. So this very short stage, it's only a little sprint that these guys are doing in Strathalbyn, but it does bring the cars to the people. Everyone gets to have a look, they get to hear them, they get to see them in full flight, and there are 30 of these style of stages on the event, which are closed. The drivers can use both sides of the road, they can go flat out, but they are connected by what we call transport or liaison stages, where all the drivers and crews must observe all the road rules that the rest of us do. They're not exempted in any way. They have to toe the line. And in fact, if they don't, the penalties for them in the event are much, much stiffer than they would be for you and I if we were to overstep the mark.
Absolutely, and rightfully so, I feel, 100%. Tour leader 4 we can see just on the start line getting ready to take off. Tour leader 4 being Martin Farkas in his Alfa Romeo Giulia QV, and we're now looking at a pretty modern Ferrari out there as well. It's just so much to feast your eyes on, sink your teeth into, so to speak, and there's just more and more people turning up. I think the second duck heat has just concluded, and they're all heading up now to have a look at the rally cars. So the duck races are happening as we speak, just down the slope underneath the bridge that the river goes. The river goes under the bridge, of course. At this stage it goes over. So yes, duck race 2 has just completed, and yeah, everyone from the duck racing community is now headed up the hill to see some much more fast-paced action.
Yes, a lot more horsepower rather than duck power. But if you are new to duck racing, as are Dan and I, this is a bit of an initiation for us. It's organised by the local Rotary Club. There are 2,500 rubber duckies that are going to have a race today along the Angus River. It consists of 4 heats with 600 yellow rubber ducks in each race. If you want to be a part of it, you buy a ticket and you are allocated one of those ducks in each heat. Now you can't buy a ticket today because the race tickets are entirely sold out, and they were before the event. Now, as well as that, local corporate bodies like the local banks, the hotels, Total Tools, in fact the Adelaide Rally, another corporate body who took part, they've all taken considerably more expensive ducks. I don't think that gives them an advantage, does it, Dan? You don't. If you buy a corporate duck, it doesn't go faster than the other ducks.
Well, I was given a bit of a hint that some of these corporate ducks have sails on, and as soon as there's a bit of breath of wind, they fall over, and they're actually slower then because they're heavier.
Well, that's race team engineering gone wrong, and that's what's happened. So, in doing this, the Rotary Club of Strathalbyn has raised $10,000 to help charities around the area, or donate to worthy causes in the area, and that's really to be applauded. And not only that, but you've got thousands of people down here on the riverbanks just having a great time and having a laugh watching the ducks negotiate their way, the rubber ducks. There's no animal cruelty here. The yellow rubber ducks negotiate their way through the short course. It's a little bit shorter than the rally stage that we're doing, but nonetheless, it's just a bit more of the entertainment down here because Strathalbyn is absolutely buzzing today.
So this is stage number 25 of 29 this weekend. They've gone through the Adelaide Hills, Eagle on a Hill, Cherryville, Norton Summit, some of the iconic stages in South Australian rallying, and then to come to this, it's certainly something a bit different, something you've never experienced, I imagine, either. So yeah, to go from those fast flowing twisty stages to something like this. It's a bit of a shock to the system, I imagine, for many of these.
Well, we got a taste of this yesterday, Dan, at Warroa, which again was a short stage, and again took the cars to the people, which is, as I stand by, is absolutely critical in the future of this kind of motorsport. It is a short stage. As Dan mentioned, Cherryville Plus, which was run on Friday, was a 20-kilometre stage. This, of course, is only about a kilometre to run through Strathalbyn, but it's just a different thing. The drivers all take them as they come, and when we talk about the positions of the field as they are at the start of competition this morning, they are so close that you might not win the rally on one of these short stages, but you sure can lose it. There's 8 seconds separating the top 3 cars in competition, and look, the smallest of spins, even a half lose, could probably cost you 8 seconds, Dan.
Oh, absolutely, and there's just 9 seconds separating the top 3 in the competition class at the moment. So yeah, any mistake in here can cost you dearly. Just seen the Alfa Romeo on the start line at the moment. There's literally millions of dollars worth of supercars just in front of our own eyes. Look at the people. Look at how many people here. This is just an awesome event to be a part of. I'm almost lost for words. This is bigger than I think even the organisers expected. People have come in the thousands to see this. It's just incredible.
Dan, I can't imagine you ever being lost for words, but having said that, yes, it is, and I think you're right. I think it is even bigger than what Tim Possingham and the state government and the Strathalbyn Council, the Alexandrina Council, expected when they all teamed up to do this. I mean, South Australian towns are a Monty for this kind of event, and it's one of the incredible things about living in South Australia is we have superb rally roads 5-10 minutes from the city centre. And we have a population that is able to cope with, the occasional road closure, and we have residents who come on board and embrace the spirit of the event, just like they do with Tour Down Under, or the Adelaide 500 that's coming up, or the Motorsport Festival in March next year. We have a feast of motorsport activity in South Australia, and it's to be applauded as partly attributable to the Labor state government, which, amongst other things, brought back the Adelaide 500 there.
Absolutely, and the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, which is run by the same group that runs this event. They've announced just a couple of days ago that Nelson Piquet's Adelaide Grand Prix winning Benetton will be on the streets of Adelaide next year, in the week before the Australian Grand Prix in early in the new year, March, April, around that time. So yeah, really cool to have the Adelaide Motorsport Festival back and to have such iconic cars around that. But yeah, that's what you sort of touched on it before, how much the Adelaide population get behind events like that. That's what made the Adelaide Grand Prix so popular, not only in Australia but around the world, because the whole town used to get behind the event. Everybody in the state used to know it was happening, and a large majority would go to it. It was only last year, or a couple of years ago, that the record attendance was actually broken from Adelaide. Adelaide Grand Prix 1995 held the record for the largest Grand Prix attendance for so many years.
That's fantastic, and it just goes to show Adelaide punches above its weight so often. And we're using the same model here today. You can see the entire town has embraced this event, to their advantage, I might add. Why wouldn't you? If you can increase your population by probably 50 to 100%. And that means retail activity, that means money for the local economy, all of which is so important to these South Australian towns, who had a bit of a rough time in COVID, where they saw a whole lot less tourism than normal. And it's great to see it flourishing again. And I mean, what is spring weather for if you're not doing something like this?
Absolutely, we can see the cars starting to head back up the hill again. So it's not some of the big big ascents that we've seen so far this weekend, but it is, like we have seen quite a few times, a constant rise up the hill. all the way to the end of this stage, from exactly where we are, the very lowest point, all the way up the hill. It's really, really cool, this stage. And there goes another V10 Lambo. Just cannot get enough of them, that's for sure. And that's the number 91. That's the Huracan Evo, a very, very new Lamborghini. Is that just made last year? That's Jack Yang behind the wheel of that new Huracan. And you know what I like about it? It still makes all the right sounds. It's just a naturally aspirated V10.
And on the other side of the game, here comes my favourite Ferrari, Dan, the 296. Now, Dan pointed out to me this is a very, very new car. It's a pretty rare car at the moment.
Yes.
There wouldn't be too many of them around on the streets. So
here it is.
So you've been privileged to see that. But I did comment that it had a resemblance to the classic lines of a Ferrari 250 LM. They're Le Mans and sports car, racing car of the middle 60s?
Yes, mid-60s.
I guess. Yeah, it's not often I get stumped on. He had to think about that one, but. Yeah, very flowing lines, a little bit less angular than some of the modern cars, including Ferrari, but very round and very reminiscent. And it's incredible the way Ferrari continue to display their lineage with new models, but somehow they always look like where they came from, always look like their predecessors.
And we can see the other Lamborghini. Oh, there's a chicane there as well. That's, just to slow the cars down a bit. So out of that second corner, and there's another chicane just before that first one. So now they're going left at this 90 degree to start the stage, left again, and then they've got a temporary chicane that's been added before the fast chicane, before they head over the bridge. So just to keep the car speed down a little bit as they go over the bridge, because it is a pretty tight bridge. We both drove over it very early this morning, and it's you're cornering all the way around the bridge. It's not a straight bridge like many are. It curves around as they go over the river.
I think it's probably the concrete walls that they're more mindful of down on the outsides of that. These are pretty exotic machines, and gee, you wouldn't want to scratch one.
See, they go around the right-hander, so they're over the bridge. Really, really cool. Swings it back to the left around another temporary chicane. And yeah, that's a really nice end to the stage, actually. A really nice natural curvatured chicane. And now we've got a BMW. And we're moving on to the BMW Tour from Zagami. So all the 53 Zagami cars have gone up. Now we've got the BMW Tour. So this is full of all your M2s, M3s and the like. We're starting off with something a little bit older. But yes, so we've got all the modern stuff as well. This is the 346 machine driven by Murray Pavey. It's a 2003 M3.
We have, and look, some of the BMWs not quite as big a ticket items as the McLarens, Ferraris, and Lamborghinis, but I think it's what you're seeing here is a healthy reflection of the role of the event. If you're fortunate enough, or you're working hard enough to generate the income to own one of these machines, and that's to be applauded anyway, if you have put together that kind of business, where are you going to drive it quickly? You can't drive it quickly down any side street. This rally enables you on closed roads in controlled conditions to stretch the legs of these cars and actually drive the lines through those beautiful roads that you've always wanted to, but socially, responsibly, of course, you didn't. But it just provides this opportunity, and I think it adds a kind of an understanding of people that, hey, yeah, this is what you do with your supercar. You go and you do an event like the Adelaide Rally. And of course, you could take it to a racing circuit like the Bend or Malala, but a lot of guys, me included, I much prefer a road, and that's why I was a rally guy rather than a circuit racing guy. The joy of driving down a road with all its various undulations and twists and turns and surprises is, I think, really what these cars were made for. Circuit cars a little bit different, but all these cars are about driving, and that's what these guys are getting out of this weekend.
We are being broadcast as well through a PA machine around the stage. Oh, sideways there. Did you see that moment? And then all the ABS lights on as well. This is a committed run from this BMW driver, throws it sideways again. through the new temporary chicane. This is a bit of a faster one, and then he will go now over the bridge, turn around to the right. What a committed run this is from the BMW driver, that's for sure, kicking the back end out sideways. But what I was making before we had a few hairy sideways moments was, if you're watching on the PA and you're enjoying what you are seeing, you can catch all of what you've missed so far this weekend on the Adelaide Rally YouTube and Facebook page. The live stream is there. We've live streamed 5 stages throughout the weekend. This the 6th and final stage that we are live streaming. And if you want to find out who takes the win in the Adelaide Rally, it's all to play for on this final day, then make sure you head to one of the closing stages after this one, or make your way down to the Adelaide Parklands at Rymal Park, where there will be a trophy presentation there for our winner. So that's just after the Notts Hill stage, which concludes proceedings this year. So yeah, plenty of action over the weekend, and there's still plenty to come as well, Neil.
There is plenty of action. There's more stages after this. Even when we finished Warroa yesterday, the cars were heading to Leawood Gardens stage, down from the Eagle on the Hill, and then to Windy Point Road up. And I know from talking to a few of the chaps this morning that they had a fabulous time doing those 2 stages. I don't think we've ever run Eagle on the Hill stage downhill before. And it is a fabulous stretch of road. I think Peter Brock once drove it, and he was asked by the state road authorities if there were any changes that he thought should happen to the road. He said, "I wouldn't change a thing. It's perfect." Yeah, there's a lot more to do today. This is only just the tip of the iceberg. It's only just lunchtime, and the cars will be contesting stages right into the afternoon before the winner is crowned in the city.
This is just fantastic, the amount of people that are lining these streets. This is what motor racing is about. There is absolutely no doubt about it, and I'm sure there'll be lots of other councils watching this. Oh yes, give us a wave. Hope you are enjoying yourselves. I'm sure they are in their Mercedes as we move on to the Mercedes Tour. But yeah, I'm sure there's lots of other councils going, oh, maybe we should do something like this as well, because this is clearly bringing so many thousands of dollars to the community of Strathalbyn.
So here's a question, Dan. What would your advertising budget have to be as a council to generate this kind of influx of people into your town for a day? You couldn't spend it. You wouldn't have that kind of advertising budget. So that's why these kind of public engagement events are so important to the state, because they get everyone out and about. And of course, while you're out here today, you're going to drive past a B&B and go, oh yeah, maybe we'll go back there in a couple of weeks and spend a weekend there. That looks like a nice restaurant. Let's go and spend some time there. What about the bookshop? Just talking to Caitlin in the bookshop alongside us. It used to be called Jeff's Books, but it's now called Rowley Books. I hope my pronunciation's right there, but Rowley means township or district, so that's the district bookshop. I might add that if you are down here in Strathalbyn, in the front window there's about 10 motorsport books, very cleverly marketed.
Yes, I think so, yes.
Yeah, the opportunist. But yeah, there's everything from Brocky to the history of Porsche to history of motor racing in photographs. So there's something for everyone down here. There's a number of hotels, the Victoria Hotel just in front of us. And in fact, if you're getting a view of the street that the cars are just lining up in, outside the Victoria Hotel, there's a scene from Picnic at Hanging Rock, which was filmed here. And they chose the area because of the lack of telegraph lines and the old style street lighting. And they came along and covered the entire road with dirt to make it look like it was turn of the, not this century, turn of the other century. And you want to go and watch a Picnic at Hanging Rock now, so you can see Strathalbyn in the movie.
So we're seeing all these different shaped Mercedes now going up the hill, and it's really cool. So gone from one iconic German brand to another. It's hard to choose between them, isn't it? BMW and Mercedes, that is for certain. both of them. It's hard to beat the speed for money value of those cars. Like BMWs, for the value for money, they're not that far off what Ferraris and Lamborghinis are really, and that's very much the same with Mercedes as well. As we see an A45, I think that is going up the hill, and another car. Well, they're just flying up there. So these tours are separated in 4-second intervals. When we come to the competition cars in the not too distant future, they'll be separated by a good few seconds, more than that, 30 seconds they will be separated by. So they are not too far away. We'll talk about all the ramifications and all the changes overnight, because it's all to play for coming into this final day. I can't quite believe that after 2 days of action, just 9 seconds separate the top three. It's been so evenly matched between the three of them all weekend long, and I'm sure it's been the same in the first few stages today. Of course, it is after 11 o'clock local time. There have been a few stages this morning. The iconic, the legendary Mount Lofty stage. Mylor's one of my favourite stages as well. That's also recently wrapped up, and then they've come straight here as well. This is the shortest stage of the rally. It's only just over 500 metres in length, but it's got a hell of a lot of character, and it's brought a hell of a lot of people to Strathalbyn, that is for certain. And we've seen the last couple of Mercedes come up the hill before we move on to the Porsche tour. We should say as well, if you are listening on to the live stream, make sure you stay around, have a meal here, and really enjoy the sights and sounds of this wonderful part of South Australia. Support the local businesses. They've really gone out of their way to make this event happen. So we've got to repay the favour and thank them. And to be honest, I am seeing that there's tons of people in the bookshop, there's tons of people in the pub. It's certainly, well, there's always lots of people in pubs, let's be honest.
Look, I should point out that the first two buildings that the people who started the town of Strathalbyn, who came from Scotland, by the way, but the first two buildings they built, it just goes to show that it was a balanced community, because the first two buildings were the pub and the church.
There you go.
So, it was a combination of lifestyles, if you like. But look, Dan, I think there might be a little lull in the not too distant future, and as soon as we get that, I'm going to jump out and go and talk to some of the punters out here, go and talk to some of the spectators on the streets, and also to some of the drivers, which we were able to do yesterday at Warroa. And I really want to know just how close this is coming down to, because in fact, as we speak, we've got a drone.
Yeah, the duck race we just saw on the screen. So yes, there it is, the duck race. So it's blown by the sort of American style alligator. I don't know what you call the actual boat.
Swamp boat.
Swamp boat, that's it.
And the little duckies, they're in the hands of the starters. They're just moving down the river. 600 ducks, 600 little yellow rubber duckies in each race, all with tickets on them from punters, and the winner of the day gets $1,000.
Pretty good.
I was disappointed when I couldn't get a ticket.
You were disappointed.
I was disappointed, but at least I haven't done my dose. So you're looking at the beautiful Angus River. It really is a very, very picturesque spot. I was talking to one of the local residents this morning who said we're living in a brand new home next to a farm, and we can walk into the town centre. So what more could you ask for? You've got the city lifestyle, the country lifestyle, and very easy community to be a part of.
And it's only 40 minutes from the Adelaide CBD as well. It's just a little hop down the hill to the city, and yeah, you're really not very far from the heart of Adelaide. It's a lovely part of the world. There you go. You can see the boat make its way back up the hill. A winner has been crowned. They sort of get funneled into the corner, and yeah, you can see the winner will be right at the end in the duck width, right at the end. It really does funnel that right to the very finish of that, and we can see just how many people are here all the way around the stage. It's a simply awesome place to be, and the weather has turned on an absolute treat this weekend. 25 degrees almost, well, it has been 25 degrees every single day. You can see everybody's out in shorts and t-shirts. Look, there's the market over the other side of the river, and there we can see Vic Moore. He's got the door open. It is quite warm. He's just trying to let it a little bit of air in before he heads up the hill. There's all of the Porsches lined up. line astern.
You mentioned, Dan, that Vic Moore was one of your school teachers. Is he to blame for you becoming a petrol head?
I was a petrol head far before Vic Moore was my automotive technology teacher, I can tell you that.
No, I have rallied against Vic Moore in various Adelaide rallies and classic Adelaide rallies. He's a beaut bloke and is an absolute Porsche tragic, but both on circuit and in rally. But always giving back to the sport, helping out today, and a big devotee of the Porsche Club, doing so much work behind the scenes to ensure the future and the membership of that club.
Yeah, he's the Porsche Club president. He's the man to contact if you want to join the Porsche Club, and he's brought an awful lot of Porsches with him this weekend. So yeah, really great effort from him. So in total, we have 23 Porsches, many of them rear-engined, flat six-motored machines, but so good to have so many of them here. They're iconic motor cars, been around now for so many decades, and just as popular as ever.
And so iconic, that shape. And again, the same as Ferrari. The shape, of course, it's renewed, it's reinvented many times over the years, but it's still unmistakably a 911. Somehow it carries that lineage with it. And a couple of mates of mine, Dale and James Ashby, are in a 718 Spider today, which is a mid-engine Porsche, very new car, pretty rare on the streets at the moment. So you might spot that silver Spider. It's a beautiful looking car, but I'd say probably a lot of this field insured by Shannon's too, Motorsport Enthusiast Insurance.
Shannon's is the title sponsor of this event, of course. The Shannon's Adelaide Rally has been for a number of years and continues to be. They share your passion. Shannon's a great addition to the Adelaide Rally, and they won't just insure your motor vehicle, but they'll also go out of their way to insure other parts as well, whether that be your tools in your workshop or your spare engine or anything like that. Shannon's really does understand your passion for motoring, and they will go out of their way to insure other things for you as well, not just the vehicle that you drive. And that's one of the great things about Shannon's. We've got to thank some of our other sponsors as well, of course, Bosch Motorsport, who are sponsoring the live stream that you're watching or listening to if you are around the circuit. And then of course as well, Calder Wealth Management, the Napa Motorsport Academy as well. If you are interested in getting involved in motorsport, whether that be as a media personality, a driver, head on to the Napa Motorsport Academy website. They'll talk you through mental health and physical well-being, best media practices, how to write a media release, how to deal with sponsors and get sponsors on board to support you in your motor racing career. These are all tips and tricks that really aren't taught, and I think it's great that the Napa Motorsport Academy is doing that.
It is, Dan, and I think the thing that you're pointing out is that motor racing is an industry, and sponsors, when they want to get on board, they're in an industry too. It's the days of going and saying to someone, hey, what about you give me a hand because I'm racing a car? Those days are gone long ago. Now it's very corporatized, and if you're going to take someone's money, then you need to show them a return on their investment. And you need to know how you go about doing that. You need to know about social media reach and engagement and all those kind of things, so that you can take someone's support and go back to them and say, look, here's what we generated for you, and you know what? They'll queue up to do it again for you.
Absolutely. You can see so many fans here. We've got so many volunteers as well. Of course, this event would not be possible without our volunteer officials. 320, over 320 of them this year. While this is happening here, we've got dozens around the rest of Adelaide sorting out the next stage and the stage after that, of course, because they move from one stage to another so quickly. There's 4 groups of different volunteers that have to go to the next stage to plan that one. So obviously we have a massive group here to make this happen because it is the first street stage, but it's great how many volunteers we have and that everyone pitches in And yeah, basically everyone does about 2 stages a day, and it's this constant rolling of volunteer officials. It's so cleverly organised, and
right.
I heard from people yesterday at Wayroa, and they were commenting. They said, I just can't comprehend how many people are involved in making this happen. And they were saying, because it's not just at this stage, it's at the next one and the next one. It's constantly happening.
That's right. And while the rear half of the field is completing this stage, the front half is already on another one.
That's right.
So
right.
It's the nature of the beast. It's logistically very hard. And I've got to say, this weekend has run like a military operation. Look, our delays, Dan, would have been limited to a few minutes here and there, wouldn't they?
Yeah, very minimal.
We've not had a major hold-up, and that goes full credit to be given to Tim Possingham and his group of organising people, and of course the 300 volunteers who Dan mentioned. Yesterday we managed to give a bit of a shout out to the stage commander Martin Waldy and his son Nick, who as I said to Dan on the commentary, I see him at every single rally I go to. He is either a stage commander or he's doing a road closure or something, but it's these people, this core group of people, who ensure that the sport continues.
Just seeing Vic Moore head up the stage through the fast chicane and then turn right over the bridge. It's a tricky corner, that one, as I say. It can certainly catch you out. We haven't seen any caught outs at this point in time, and continues to blast up the final sequence of corners. And they will continue to come through thick and fast. Now will the Porsches. Listen to the noise of some of these old Porsches. Nothing quite like the sound of a flat six. There's nothing to me like the sound of 30 Carrera Cup cars on the start line. It's just, it really, you can feel it in your bones. It's just an incredible sensation, and they will of course be having their final round on the streets of Adelaide next weekend, will the Carrera Cup category. Very much looking forward to seeing who's going to wrap up that title. Looks like at the moment it's going to be the Kiwi Callum Hedge who leads the series, heading into the final round of the series, as we say, in Adelaide next weekend. It's hard to believe it's come around so quickly from last year. Of course, this time next week, next Sunday, Robbie Williams will be in Adelaide, a Pommy icon.
Oh, not just a Pommy icon, Dan. I think he's sent his brand right around the world, and has been a huge maker of hits. I remember when he got signed up by, I think it was Sony, and he came out and he said, "I am rich beyond my wildest dreams." One of the best sayings that's ever been said by a pop star. So, music icon Robbie Williams about to rock Adelaide next weekend.
It certainly is. I was at the Goocher Street party last night, another fantastic addition to the Adelaide Rally, where all the cars align the central street in Adelaide, and there's a real party atmosphere there. There's a DJ, and they, at one stage one of the restaurants was playing Angels by Robbie Williams, and the orchestra that came, all the voices from within the restaurant, it was quite something. 200 people belting out Angels. It could be heard all the way down Goocher Street. It was pretty cool.
We'll probably be more like 200,000 next weekend, right?
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to that next Sunday, that is for sure. But this Sunday we have had this to look forward to. We've been talking about it all weekend, and it has delivered, hasn't it? There are so many cars coming up the hill.
And there's Dale and James Ashby, who I mentioned before, in the 718 Spider. Very, very pretty car. That, lovely shade of Porsche silver. That being, of course, the German racing colours.
We yet to see that car take to the stage. You're seeing that at the comms box. You're seeing the 304 machine head up the hill at this particular moment. Bright yellow Porsche certainly can't be missed around the streets of Adelaide, that is for certain. That's been driven by Jeff Ollie, and that is a Cayman GT4 RS, the very quickest Cayman there is to purchase, and you can see that being utilised. Lots of downforce on that Porsche, that's for sure, as he concludes the stage. Up next, that looks to me like a pretty modern GT3 car. I think that's 308, it is a 911 9912 GT3 car, and that's been driven by Peter Wertherson, who's really been enjoying his weekend in that car, because it's, listen to that, it just sounds utterly magical as it blasts around these Strathalbyn streets. And one of the cool things as well, the sound of these cars are echoing off the buildings, which we haven't had so far this weekend.
It is, it's wonderful. And look, Dan, if you can't get down to Strathalbyn, if you've missed your opportunity to do that, you can go and see the cars on a really good stage called Sturt Valley. The first car's due at 1 o'clock. And if you know Upper Sturt Road, you find your way to Upper Sturt Road, and Sturt Valley Road runs off that at the Soldiers Memorial Hall. Now, you'll need to take a different route to get in to watch the stage, because you can't drive in on the stage. But a popular spot is where we turn into Ironbank Road. That's a great stage. The first half is so tight. There's hairpin after hairpin, probably a few cars using the handbrake to rotate. And then there's a very picturesque downhill over a narrow bridge. It looks like an old English country setting, sort of reminiscent of 60s rallying, but that's a great little stage to watch. And on that intersection into Ironbank Road, you'll find a big crowd of people there to watch that. Yeah,
you certainly will. We're just seeing the first of the Hyundais now heading up the stage. This is Tour Leader 20. Heading up there at a pretty fast rate of knots. So cool to have the Hyundai Tour here with us this year. Not quite as many as there have been in previous years, but nevertheless some great machines. We've been saying, haven't we, how Hyundai's really come along in recent years. The end products are something everybody wants to own, whereas if you said Hyundai 10 or 15 years ago, motoring people would have gone, no, not Hyundai, no. But now, particularly the hatchbacks, as we see one heading up the hill now, the i20N hatchback, they're just desirable cars.
And lilac never looked so good, did it?
Exactly.
I mean, you can call it performance blue, but to me it's lilac. And when you see half a dozen of them together in that colour, doesn't it look fantastic? I reckon it's a stroke of marketing genius that they chose a left field colour to be their brand, and it's really helped them. You know, World Rally and touring cars. And as Dan said, if you haven't driven a Hyundai i30N, go and have a run in one. They really are a hoot to drive. I think there's probably entry level about 50k, but a lot of car for 50k, and a real hoot to drive. A car that you can drive to work every day, and if you want to take it to the track on a Sunday you can, or do the occasional hill climb. You can even do the Adelaide Rally if you want.
Absolutely, we're seeing now the main tour go up. This is one of the loudest cars here this weekend. This is Tour Leader 6, it's Nathan Green in his Nissan Skyline GTR, brilliantly liveried machine, coming to the end of the stage. So we've had all our branded tours, you'd say, so the Porsches, the BMWs, the Mercs, Zagami and Hyundai have all gone through. Now this is for people like you and me, Joe Bloggs and his family. They can come, bring their own motor vehicle and drive them on the 29 stages of the Adelaide Rally. I cannot think, in conditions like this with this many people around, what could be better to do on a weekend? If there is anything, please tell me.
Well, you know you're not going to get a different answer from me, because I'm a fellow petrolhead. But great diversity of cars in this. We've already seen a Subaru, we've got a 944 Porsche, a little bit more classic car. We've got a current model Mustang in a superb metallic blue with the big alloys on it. It looks beautiful. And of course the Coyote V8, 330 horsepower, kilowatts I should say, over 400 horsepower, from 5 litres of variable valve timing V8. Real good engine. It's the engine that's used in the S5000 open wheeler formula, and of course that's being followed by the original pony car, a 64 Mustang. So there's the old and the new for you. And then, you know, hey, if you want to come on a budget, you can do that too, because the Falcon Futura that's following, that's not a lot of dollars. Got the Tommy Mackinnon Mitsubishi Evo. So there is just a wealth of diversity in this class, and I can see just a little later you're going to see the Elfin Streamliner. So there's something for everyone, and as Dan said, this is not a dealer group, a dealer organised group. This is a one-size-fits-all group, so anybody gets to join in, and you can have a chat with like-minded guys, even though they might have chosen a different brand to you.
I can smell a bit of burning rubber. I don't know about you. I think somebody's had let it rip a bit off the start line. But yeah, I can certainly smell burning rubber from where I am as we see the Evo head up the hill now. Look at how many people are lining the stages. It's so cool to see. And the cars just keep coming through thick and fast. You just cannot get enough of them. And we've got another Porsche on the start line, and just behind that a Nissan GTR. Of course, this really did, with technology, move everything forward in the motoring world. The Nissan GTR, one of the most high-tech pieces of machinery ever built, and for such good value as well at the time. Through that new additional temporary chicane comes the, is that a Cayman? I think it is, and then heads through the fast chicane and over the bridge where the duck race, heat number 4, will not be too far away, I'm sure, but we're enjoying the action too much here to even think about the duck racing as the Elfin heads up the hill into turn number 1. It's a tricky corner, that one, to start off, because you've got quite a bit of speed before you make it around there. Turn 2 is tighter than you'd think, and there is the two-toned Mercedes that we were laughing at yesterday. Depending what side of the road you're on, it's a completely different colour. And there's the Elfin just finishing the stage through the fast chicanes that finish it. Of course, you should explain, these tours, they're not against the clock. These are just people having fun driving around the Adelaide streets. The timed competitive cars are yet to come. We saw in WRC just overnight, or in the last 48 hours, on a special stage. You sort of alluded to it. You certainly can't win a rally in a super special stage, but you can certainly lose one. And factory Toyota driver Katsuta crashed into a barrier in one of the special stages and lost a wheel. So that's proof that it can capture the very best in the business.
I remember Toyota team boss Jari-Matti Latvala putting a concrete barrier on the last stage of an event when he had it won, and Malcolm Wilson already had the champagne open. It was terrible to watch. I'd nearly cried for Jari-Matti, and I'm sure he would admit that was probably the worst mistake he ever made. But hey, it can happen. And look, that saying comes from Jim Richards. You can't win the event on the first stage, but you sure can't lose it. And they're wise words from a guy who's got plenty of wins to his name.
Yeah, Target Tasmania wins, many for Jim Richards, of course, 7-time Bathurst 1000 winner as well. Really cool, really great driver. What many people say, and I completely echo the remarks. Possibly the greatest touring car driver in the world at the time, in the late 80s and early 90s, during that Godzilla GTR period, and even when he was in the BMWs as well in the late 80s. But yeah, Jim Richards certainly raised the game in Australia for touring car competition, and both of his Nissan GTR Godzillas will be on the streets of Adelaide early next year. 1991 and 1992 Bathurst 1000 winners will be at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival early next year, so highly recommend getting there. There's already been 2 Formula 1 cars announced, a rotary Mazda Le Mans car as well, which I know you're a big fan of, Nick.
I am. I love a good rotor. I have owned a few, and I rallied an RX3. So we can see the Morgan 3-wheeler just running through. Cars don't come any more unique than the Morgan 3-wheeler. And you might remember, if you've ever seen the movie The Party with Peter Sellers, that he rolled up in his Morgan 3-wheeler because he was a bit quirky. But yeah, that just gives you an indication, or reinforces the diversity of cars in this field. Yeah, we've got more coming. Ray Eastwood in the Mercedes 220S and the BMW 1602, as we see the Yaris just going through there.
That's a McGann going up the hill. Oh, a bit of a crank sideways there, I think, unless my eyes were deceiving me. What's this? The 288 machine? I can't recall seeing this. Is it 288? What is that, Nick? Have you got any idea?
Yellow one?
Yeah.
There's a Triumph TR7 V8, I would suggest, but I don't think I saw it yesterday either.
It is a Triumph, you are correct. But yeah, I don't recall seeing this at any stage this weekend, so great that this car is out there and making an appearance on Sunday. It's really good to see. Unfortunately, on Friday morning, one or two people did have to pull out with that virus that was around a few years ago that we're not going to name. But a few people maybe had that and are now clear and arriving in the rally on the Sunday, which is really cool. And there is Ray Eastwood heading up the hill in the 1957 Mercedes 220. Really, really iconic piece of machinery, one of the most expensive cars in the event this year, from way back here in 1957. The joint oldest car here this weekend. Ray's a veteran of Adelaide rally competition. He openly admits, I'm not the fastest driver in the world, but he probably has the most amount of fun of anybody here. He comes back year after year after year.
Ray and I were having a conversation on Friday morning on the Beaumont stage about one of the fastest drivers in the world at the time. In 1956, Sterling Moss winning the Mille Miglia road race in a derivative of that car, if you like, a Mercedes 300 SLR. At an average speed of 96 miles per hour, not kilometres per hour, miles per hour, which is, to be honest, incomprehensible. It would be incomprehensible today, but the fact that it happened 60 years ago makes it even more incomprehensible. Dennis Jenkinson in that car also really pioneered pace notes. So, you know, there's a lot that comes from the history of rallying that's still being used today.
You're not on about the guy alongside Ray Eastwood, you're on about the guy alongside Sterling Moss, of course.
Yes, Dennis Jenkinson.
Yeah, completely agree with that. As you say, it really was the birth of pacemates, wasn't it? Absolutely. Good recollection there from you, Nick. If you're just tuning in to the Bosch Motorsport live stream, you're watching the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. This is the first ever Strathalbyn street stage on this Sunday morning, and you can see what an event it's already turning into. I'm sure it'll be back again next year with the support that it's had. I'm certain the Alexandrina Council will be throwing their money behind it once again, because it's certainly brought revenue for the council this weekend, that is for certain.
And the best is yet to come. The competition cars not far away.
Absolutely. So yeah, the event has been going for 2 days, Friday, Saturday, and now we are into the action on Sunday. This is stage number 25 of 29 for the weekend. And I can see that Nick is itching to get out there, get amongst the crowd. And he's yeah, looking forward to getting out there. So Nick jumping out the van, he wants to interview some drivers and some pundits and some fans around the place. And I'm sure he will pick some great drivers. So we are now on with the main tour, as we say. In fact, we're on with the Spirit Tour now already in the 400. So these guys are required to wear a helmet. They can go a bit faster than the tours that we have seen so far. And yeah, he is out there. Our man on the ground, Nick Lenthal. I'm Dan McCarthy on the 25th stage of the event. Very much looking forward to seeing what sort of performance the competition cars will produce around here. Will they take it a bit steady, being such a unforgiving stage, or will they really let it loose, have a bit of fun and show off to the crowd? I don't think the top three will be doing that for obvious reasons. They've got lots to play for. 9 seconds separating the top three coming into this, the final day of action. Now, they've already been to Mount Lofty, they've already been to Mylor, and this is the Strathalbyn town stage at just over 530 metres in length. You see them all the way around. Look at how many people are here, not only for the rally but for the legendary duck race. First time the duck race has been back in Adelaide, back in Strathalbyn since 2019, since before the COVID-19 pandemic. So really cool that it's back and being supported so very heavily as well. You see out there. Everyone getting right up close to the fences, getting as close as they possibly can to the action. Look at all the cars aligning the streets as well. But yes, you can see just how many people are rocking up to this iconic stage, and I'm calling it iconic already because this is just an amazing place to be. Glorious conditions, there's a bit of a breeze. Make sure if you are here listening on with the PA system that you slap some sunscreen on, or as I'm quite sure you'll be getting burnt here today. Really nice weather conditions, almost not a cloud in the sky. There's always a bit of a break between the main tour and the Spirit Tour, and that's what we are seeing at the moment. You can see the tour leader at the start line. He'll head off with lights flashing and sirens sounding in just a few moments' time. This is the last of the tour categories before we move on to the competition categories. TSD, of course, the time, distance, speed category challenge, and the main one, competition, that's straight after this, the Spirit Tour. As we say, it would not be possible, this event, without our sponsors. We've already said about Shannon's, they share your passion for motoring. Also got, of course, Bosch, of course, sponsoring the live stream, the Napa Motorsport Academy, Calder Wealth Management. You know, they're financial advisors. They are very good financial advisors as well. ADI, the Australian Driving Institute, who have trained so many people to go motor racing, and many of our competitive rally competitors have been through them in the past to make sure they are ready for this event. As well as that, of course, we've got Bowden's Car Care products, colour on demand. All the stickers that you see all over the cars were printed by Colour on Demand. They're located in the Adelaide CBD, and they do an amazing job. They really do. And Wheelworks as well, based in Richmond, do all wheel repairs, whatever that may be. So yes, Wheelworks based in Richmond, just outside of Adelaide. Of course, we've got to thank the Alexandrina Council. Without them, this Strathalbyn event would not be able to take place. And the tour leader is away. The Spirit Tour has commenced. This is the final live streamed stage, but there are another 5 stages after this one: Doctors Creek, Aldgate Valley, Sturt Valley and Notts Hill. 4 stages to come after this. So you can see, might be a tour leader, but a great rally driver in his own right, flinging it through the chicane and completing the stage. Just there you can see with the whiteboard with the red circle, and it looks like, Nick, you're down there.
Just down
with,
here
one of our competitors, number 402.
Just down here with Dan Beck in the mighty Mazda RX-2 Coupe. Dan, a veteran of many Adelaide rallies. Dan, what sort of a weekend have you had?
Yeah, I had a ball, obviously in Spirit Tour this year, and I'm really enjoying the whole concept. It's really actually quite refreshing to not have the pressure of competing. Having a ball.
Mate, it's good to have you out here representing the Rotors. You're few and far between this year. I'm going to let you go because you're queuing up now. Have a great weekend, fellas.
Catch you, mate. See you.
Thanks very much to Nick.
Now you can listen to the Brap Brap.
Well, of course, to Dan Beck, who's down there, as he says, in Spirit Tour this year, and he will be out in just a few seconds. First car heading up the stage, the BMW. That'll be closely followed by the rest of the Spirit Tour. So many cars here this weekend, over 300. There's been more in the past due to a few competition class rule changes. A few people weren't quite prepared for it this year, but we expect to get back into the 400s when more competition cars return. to the Shannon's Adelaide Rally in coming years. So that will be great to see. This is a brand new car, not only to the Adelaide Rally, but in Australia, full stop. There's only a handful in the state. This is the brand new Toyota GR Corolla, and it's certainly got some pace behind it. The GR Yaris has been with us for a number of years, but the brand new GR Corolla, glorious looking machine, and it goes like stink as well. So does this from the late 90s, the Ferrari 355. The Ferrari really that I grew up with, along with the 360. A really cool piece of kit, and it's aged well, that's for sure. Makes the right noise as well, doesn't it, as it blasts by. People are a little bit cautious through that fast left-hander, I've noticed. I'm sure the competition cars won't be. And off we go from the stage, the 413 machine. Troy Hemmerling at the wheel of that BMW 335i. 2006 now, a number of years old. Certainly committed through the stage. I'll let you listen to it as it goes up. Just letting you listen to Diana Dalla Valle as up goes the Dan Beck driven Mazda RX-2 that Nick was just talking to. So that's a bit of a tricky 90-degree left hand. You can see from the drone shot there's a big curb on the inside there that they have to go around. And then the additional chicane through the fast flip-flop, and then over the bridge around to the right, swing it through the left. Dan's a bit more committed than some of the ones we've seen so far, and then he flips it through the final chicane to finish the stage. Now we've got the Lancer going up the hill. Such pedigree in motor racing, Mitsubishi Lancer Evos, and this is one of the newer ones. Of course, it's still about 10 years old, this on the Evo 10, but nevertheless a great piece of kit. Up the hill goes Boylan and his Subaru, so we go to the rival. This is the 403 machine, driven by Adam Boylan. Alongside him is Russell Malden. And their 2014 Subaru STI. This is just really, really cool. People just keep coming to the start line. There's so many people around the start line. It's quite remarkable, it really is. Now this has been a committed Mazda throughout the weekend. Me and Nick have looked forward to seeing this go around the stages every single time. It's wheel spinning, it's sliding, and this will be no exception through the temporary chicane. Committed and committed through here as well. Maxed out is Leith Thornton. Really nice guy is Leith. Flings it through the left, and again just a little cautious. People can't see around the corner, that's the tricky part of it. They can only see that chicane once they get all the way around that left-hander. Brilliant drone footage here of the old school light blue Porsche through the chicane. Oh, that's pretty tight, isn't it? That's for sure, particularly in an old school Porsche. That sounds good. That sounds really good. Flicks it right, flicks it left, hold it to the left so you've got the best angle, the best run through the fast temporary chicane, and then you flick it around the final chicane to finish. Here's the 414 machine, of course driven by Nick Jordan, with Ali Pullman alongside in their 2007 Subaru WRX. Nick likes to give it a good go, likes to put on a show, and he's doing that again in this stage. Around the bridge, nicely done. Hold it left around here, or else it's going to make the run through the right-hander a bit awkward, and it did, but nevertheless Nick gets through that one okay. We now look back to the bit more old school Subaru. Heading up the hill. And we will then go from Subaru to Mitsubishi with, I can see Nathan Davies on the start line, and away he goes in his Evo 10. Alongside him is Peter Doldig. Great to have them both here this weekend. You can really see it really is in the heart of Strathalbyn, the start of this stage, as they go around the buildings. Then they make their way over the picturesque river where the duck racing is happening right now, and then through the fast sweeping S's to finish the stage, and around the church. The big church is just there on the right hand side. It was created very early on in Strathalbyn's history, was that church, one of the first two buildings to be built in the heart of Strathalbyn, as we alluded to earlier on. The Lotus taking things very easy there through the chicane. And of course the pretty new Exige Sports 350 from back in 2016. And into turn one goes Alistair Hay in his 718 Cayman GT4 RS. We've seen a Spider 718 already come through. This the first of the hard tops to go through. Really taking it easy and cautious through these chicanes is Alistair, but enjoying himself, that's for certain, over the bridge. Flicking it around the fast left. Be interesting to see if the competition guys are watching the live stream to learn the nuances of this stage. I'm sure they are. You hear of that in WRC, that they watch the WRC2 drivers go through, the second tier series. They watch them go through just to learn if there's any rocks or any ruts that they need to avoid prior to them heading out. And I'm sure the competition guys will be watching the likes of Jack Monkhouse and our new overnight leader as well. Of course, Matthew Selly losing the lead overnight. So yeah, Olholm and Selly were fighting for it on day number one, but it's all changed at the top of the order with Oscar Matthews taking up the running in the competition class. I'm sure that Oscar Matthews, Matthew Selly and Jeff Olholm will be all watching on, learning this stage, seeing the right racing line, particularly to take that left-hander behind the water barrier. I made a bit of a point earlier, they can't see over the water barrier, so they don't really know where that right-hander is, the next to the water barriers that make up that chicane, and that makes it really, really difficult. Same with that one, with these cars so low, these sports cars, they can't see over the side of the water barrier what's to come, because of course in rallying you're taught to look through the corner. That's the same in all motorsport, but yeah, when they have these water barriers, they cannot see around what is to come. They're pretty high, 1.2 meters in height, and of course many drivers will be sitting lower than that around this Strathalbyn stage. Cars are beginning to get faster and faster and faster. This is a little Gazoo Racing Yaris. Doesn't it look the part? Glistening in the sunshine here in the mighty Adelaide hills. This is Strathalbyn, if you're just tuning in, a little town, a population of 6,500, located around 45 minutes southeast of the Adelaide CBD, 60 kilometres it is from the CBD, established in 1863. It's got a great history in South Australia, and you can see, oh, that was a big moment, good catch from the Audi RS3 driver. We've commented all weekend long just how committed he is. He just about caught that as he flicked it left and flicked it right just after the bridge. A good save from the Audi RS3 driver, of course, Oliver Taylor at the wheel. We've said on many occasions, me and Nick, Oliver Taylor should probably go up to one of the competition classes. He is a very, very fast driver and fully committed all of the time. certainly makes a couple of the other Spirit Tour drivers look tame in comparison. Here we have Chris Howie heading up the hill. Chris Howie at the wheel of his Ford Mustang. Getting it a little taily out of the chicane. Of course, 5-litre V8 engine, a lot of power under his right foot. Trying to put it down gently and smoothly. Or maybe not on this town stage, maybe giving the fans something to enjoy. And we can hear the roar of the Chevrolet. Head up the hill now, of course. The Chevrolet used in supercars now, the ZL1. This driven by Nick Pappas, and in the co-driving seat, Neville Houston and George Pappas have been sharing the driving duties. That is allowed in these tours. This is allowed in the tours. You can do that. You can share driving duties and passenger duties. And it's really cool that that is a feature of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. That you can share. The McCarthys are a great example of that. Paul McCarthy is driving, but alongside him each day is a different one of his 3 sons. So really cool that that is possible. You can see the cars all lined up around in front of me, and we can see the next car heading up the hill. It's another Gazoo Racing Yaris. So many of them here this weekend. They really have turned into such a popular and iconic car, made mostly famous, I think, by Kalarov and Pera, who's won now the last 2 WRC titles in a Gazoo Racing Yaris. Toyota dominating it at the moment. Prior to Cali's domination, it was the domination of Sebastian Ogier. Oh, that's really wide from the Gazoo Yaris there. And up the hill comes the brand new Honda Civic Type R 2023. Very, very few of these in the country, at least driving on the roads at this stage. There's a few in the showrooms, and if you like what you are seeing, then absolutely. Great value for money in terms of performance and price. It's hard to beat a Honda Civic Type R. It's got good racing pedigree as well in TCR competition around the globe. Of course, TCR World Tour, the final round there is at Macau this weekend, an iconic street circuit, and very similar to Strathalbyn, an iconic rally stage now, blasting through the streets. But yes, TCR World Tour wrapping up in Macau after being at Bathurst just a couple of weekends ago. Tony D'Alberto doing very well in his Honda Civic Type R. Of course, Tony D'Alberto finishing on the Bathurst podium earlier on in the year. You see another Subaru head up the hill. There are very, very many Subarus here this weekend. I swear that chicane's getting tighter. I don't know if somebody's knocked the first part of that temporary chicane. They seem to be really having to get it slowed down now through there as he goes over the bridge, over the river. That's a better line through there. Keeping it left gives you a nice line for the fast right flick. Rolls away. I could hear some cheers from the fans as Ben Old took off there. Certainly one of the louder cars here this weekend. I say this weekend, of course, the Shannon's Adelaide Rally, a 3-day event. Started on Friday morning with the Beaumont. You can't get bored of that, can you? You cannot get bored of that. Yeah, the Beaumont stage is live streamed on Friday morning. If you want to check out that stage, you can tune into the Adelaide Rally YouTube and Facebook pages and watch all of what you missed. You missed 3 stages on Friday and 2 stages yesterday. This is the final live stream stage of the weekend, and you can see why we knew we had to come to Strathalbyn. We thought, do we go to the last stage of the rally? And we thought, this is just awesome. You cannot miss the first ever edition of the Strathalbyn town stage, as off goes the Subaru Liberty in the hands of Louis English. It's a Liberty Turbo RS in what to me looks, it's not quite the same colour blue, but it's certainly got signs and looks of Colin McRae Subaru era with the yellow writing all over it. All emblazoned all over the car. Not the 555 sponsorship that we got to know, but nevertheless it's a top of the cap, a real nod to the Pro Drive run Subaru factory team in WRC for many years. Peter Solberg winning Subaru's last World Rally title 20 years ago now, back in 2003. Look at this, lots of downforce on this Toyota 86, a lot more than what you see on a standard 86, that's for certain. That's certainly a lot of wheel spin there from the Skoda Octavia, the only Skoda here this weekend. I've said that a few times, but really cool to have it. And then I think we've got one of the only Volvos as well in a couple of cars' time as well. And then we are not too far away from the competition classes. I'm sure Nick will be heading down there to chat to some of our leaders in the comp classes and challenge classes. As off goes the Subaru. Now, you may have heard me all weekend going, now what's that? What is that on the top of the car? Well, it's actually a little bit of sponsorship. It's actually a roof racks galore. Just showing yes, the sleek design of the roof racks. So yeah, roof racks galore. So all the things you put on the roof rack are protected and not going to be affected in any way from any weather. Here is the other joint oldest car heading up the hill now, the Austin Healey. So cool to have that here, the Austin Healey BN4 from back in 1957. 66 years old. Wow, iconic British piece of motoring when Britain of course had so many manufacturers. Really was the golden era for British engineering and British motoring, that's for sure. But like Australia, it's certainly slowed down in recent years as we see the Volvo S60 head up the hill, of course made famous in Australia by Kiwi Scott McLaughlin on the very streets of Adelaide back in 2014. That was almost flat through that chicane. That ripped through there at some pace. Nice line through the left-hander. This has been one of the best runs I've seen so far. Might not look that spectacular, but it's fast. Keeping the minimum corner speed up through these chicanes. And yeah, really nice run there. As we now await the competition cars. These are in order of what they are in the rally. So our rally leader will be coming through first in the 515 machine. Oscar Matthews with Naomi Tillett alongside, and following that we'll have Matthew Selly, the day one overnight leader. Jeff Olholm beyond that. The top three, as we say, separated by 9 seconds coming into today. So yeah, it's all to play for. Probably already changed in the first two stages, but results will not be posted now until the end of the 29th and final stage at Notts Hill. So we wait with bated breath to find out who is going to be our Shannon's Adelaide winner for 2023. It's been a long time since we've had a competition this close, and it's really awesome that there are 3 drivers still very much in contention, and Nick's down there with our rally leader.
Thanks, Dan. I'm down here on the start line with Oscar Matthews, who is currently leading the event. Oscar, a Sterling Adelaide Hills man and a great punter, veteran of many of these events. Oscar, how are you feeling about the stages to come this afternoon?
Yeah, look, it's going to be a pretty good afternoon. Still a few competitive Ks to go, and it's been a tight battle with Matt up until this point. So, yeah, a lot of work to do yet. Still got, plenty to get.
Doc, coming up, one of your favourites?
It's a good stage. It's nice and tight, and then quite fast, but it's very technical as well. So, it's going to be a challenge.
You've had a great tussle with Matt Selly and Jeff through the last couple of days. It's so close between the top 3 cars. You must be very cautious about going as hard as you can without too hard.
Yeah, look, I think there's been some changes to the technical regulations, which has really evened up the field, and I think they've been, in a way, quite beneficial to us, which has been great. But, you know, again, it's just coming down to driver skill.
And the rally until it's over, so anything could happen. Very best of luck for the remaining stages, mate. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Nick. And thanks, of course, to our rally leader, Oscar Matthews. Yeah, 1999 Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. And he, he's interesting. He's saying, oh, it's been really close between Selly, but of course, Jeff Olholm is only 9 seconds behind as well in 3rd position. It's an incredibly close rally that we've got this year, and it looks like already Nick's down there with Matt Selly.
Dan, I am down here with Matt Selly, who is part of that top group that are dicing fiercely at the moment. Matt, you've got a couple of good stages to come, Doctors Creek. What are your thoughts on the next few?
I'm quite fond of Doctors Creek. It's a nice flowing stage, a bit uphill. Hopefully, it's down to seconds here. I mean, at the end of yesterday, I think we were 4 seconds down on Oscar. We're not getting live results in this event. We have to wait to the end of the day. So I really have got no idea where we're up to after a couple of stages this morning, but we'll just wait and see.
It must be agonising waiting to find out how you've gone over those few stages.
It's quite tricky, really, because rally is such a strategic sport. If I knew, for example, that he pulled 5-6 seconds out of me on the first couple of stages, I'll back off now because I knew there's a massive gap behind me. We'll just keep pushing on, and it will be a surprise for everyone this afternoon.
For the people at home who aren't used to driving rally cars, when you're faced with a situation like this where you know that it's very, very close, how do you decide whether to go maximum attack or whether to just leave a little bit in reserve?
I think you've always got to leave a little bit in reserve, Nick. You're stupid if you're going to be in the car. At the end of the day, to finish first, you've got to finish.
And do you think that drivers generally have stages that they prefer over others that kind of suit their style or the style of their car setup?
Oh, definitely. Definitely that for us, there are certainly stages that we prefer. We're really happy with our notes on and they suit the car. And they're the ones that we're really going to focus on. Other ones, we're just not going to take a risk. We'll just bank it, get it out of the way, move on to the next one. That's as I say, it's a strategic sport.
It is a technical sport and it's very tactical. So would you say there's probably half a dozen stages during the event that you think we really need to commit to those? Our notes are going to be perfect. And
well, I think the 2 Cherryville stages on Friday, so they're like 20-something plus kilometres. If you're going to lose 15 seconds on those stages, which isn't much over 25 kilometres, you probably lost the event. So you really got no choice but to push as hard as you can on those.
Matt, thanks so much for your time. We wish you all the best for the upcoming stages, you and Hamish. And thanks again.
Thanks, Nick.
Really cool to chat there with Matt Selly, a former Adelaide Rally winner. And I'm sure he's got his eyes forward, eyes on the prize coming into today in 2nd position. Interesting points he made there about the strategic element of rallying, and it's a lot harder to be strategic when you just don't know what your competitors are doing around you. It's so cool to be here in Strathalbyn. You can see everyone lining the river for the upcoming duck race, but there's a lot more people at the moment up here taking photos of these competition cars. I'd really like to I've spoken to a few of the Zagami drivers and things just before, people saying what a cool stage this is to be a part of. And you can see all the competitors. It looks like the course car is not too far away from heading up the stage. And it looks like Nick is down there now with Jack Monkhouse.
Dan, down at the 180B with Jack Monkhouse, this 1973 piece of engineering that's been vastly upgraded to the point where it's matching it with the modern cars. And Jack, aside from doing extremely well and monstering the classic class, I think you at last night were running 4th outright, even up against those 4-wheel drive turbo cars.
We love longer stages. They probably suit us a bit better to get in the groove. But yeah, like we were a little bit back on them at the minute, but we inherited third place, I think, this morning with unfortunately Jeff and the Supra not starting. So yeah, I think we're unofficially on the podium. Not counting our chickens before they hatch. We've still got plenty of stages to go. So yeah, we'll just take each stage by stage and see what happens.
Spoken like a seasoned rally driver. We will not count the chickens before they hatch. And thank you for that information about Jeff, because I didn't know that. You've got a couple of good stages coming up. How do you feel about Doctors Creek?
Yeah, it's a great piece of road, very fast, and you can really sink your teeth into it and let the old day forward to that and having a good run.
All right, guys, I'll let you get prepped for the start. Hey, thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Course car is heading up the stage. The competition not too far away now at all. As we can see, the Evo's driven pretty hard, even though it is a course car, flinging left and right through the stages. Question is, how are these drivers going to approach these 90-degree corners at the start of this stage? There's certainly not many 90-degree corners in this Adelaide rally. They are fast flowing corners or hairpin bends. Very few street corners with 90-degree angles on them, that is for sure. And yet not too far away now. There he is, our rally leader at the front of the field. Oscar Matthews on the rev limiter and underway. Great start, launching down into the first corner. That looked really committed, really fast through there. Jinks a bit to the right to get it flicked to the left through the tight additional chicane. Nice exit there. Flat, no, did have to lift through the chicane and then over the bridge. Got to hold it hard to the left here, and does so. That's really nicely done. Got on the power quickly and flicks it back around to the left to complete the stage. And away goes Selly straight away. That looked nice as well. Very similar lines through turn number 1, through the temporary chicane. How committed is he through here? Not quite as committed, I don't think, there as Oscar Matthews, but we're talking tenths. We really are between these two at the moment. 4 seconds, as you say, coming into this. Really fast through there and across the line. So now our third place men, as we say. Every car is going out in the order in which they are in the rally. So the third car was meant to be Jeff Oldham. He is missing, so that's why the third car out there now is Jack Monkhouse. Nevertheless, it's still a two-way fight for the rally lead. But Monkhouse isn't too far away either. He had a few mechanical issues on Friday. This is the most committed run so far, that's for sure. That was almighty fast through there. That was an awesome run for Jack Monkhouse. And here comes Stephen Campbell now, the wheel of his BMW E36. So of course he now sits third in the modern class, fourth outright. It's been a really, really good performance from him all weekend long. It really has. He's just been consistent, been there, made very few mistakes, and he's exactly the reason why he is where he is. He's silky smooth, a silky smooth driving style from Stephen Campbell. And here are the Weirings coming into today, the two BMWs. The one we just saw, the E36, and this the E92, driven by Cameron Wearing, separated by just 2 seconds. Really, really tight. And Cameron Wearing, a driving instructor himself, the owner of the Australian Driving Institute, looking fast and flicks it through the chicane. This car led a large majority of the rally on Friday morning, but unfortunately mechanical issues plaguing the car, and it saw them sit out the remaining stages. He was fast yesterday, took a couple of stage wins, and unfortunately now is only in 7th position. But this sounds glorious in the iconic Le Mans Porsche colours from the 70s, the pork chop coloured Porsche. Tell you what, that was reversing through Goocher Street, and it made a hell of a noise yesterday, just reversing. It was quite remarkable. Here we have Douglas Johnson in his 2002 Evo. Really nice paint scheme, blue, red and white. Stands out from the crowd, not only because of its pace, but because of its looks as well. Didn't use all the road there through that chicane. Not and looking a little bit more cautious than some of the ones we've seen so far. Didn't like the rotation there, the Evo, but he got away with it. This is a very slow moving Porsche 944. This does not look good for Nick Strathalbyn. What do you think? Joining me once again is Nick Lenthal in the commentary box. This does not look good for the Porsche 944.
No, Nick and Jacob Strathalbyn going uncharacteristically slow. They're normally very, very quick, but yeah, it looks like the 944 might have something that's bothering it a bit. There's no smoke, so it's probably not a turbo, but perhaps not getting the full amount of thrust from the engine management system. So they're just going to have to deal with that. It's only a short stage, as you said, Dan, so it's not going to hurt them a whole lot, but yeah, it's not ideal, is it?
Hopefully it'll be fixed before the next one. If not, it's going to be a long Sunday for them with 4 stages still to go. After this, Zane Admiral and this man here, Andre Lucas, really piling on the pressure. Not too many seconds separating these guys coming into today. Let's have a look. Yeah, just a minute behind. Admiral is Andre and Zane Admiral himself less than a minute behind Nick in the Porsche 944. That will be easily zapped away if that 944 can't be fixed. As we see a good end to the run there from Andre. And then the little Polo punching above its weight is Ian Watson, being locked in a battle with Mark Lacey in the Ford Laser TX3, which is to come next, and then the Robert Brocklebank Toyota Corolla. They've sort of had their own battle of 3 of them, and it's been great to see the lighter, less powerful machines have a great ding-dong battle. And this front-wheel drive Polo has been the class of those 3 this weekend, leading this car coming into today by 39 seconds. So Lacey sits in 12th position in the competition class overall. As you say, just 39 seconds between them. That's certainly catchable with 7 stages remaining. You'll probably only catch a couple in this one, but there's some longer stages to come. The 5.7 kilometre stage next at Doctors Creek, a good example of that. This is one of the loudest cars here as well, the Zach Hedge Porsche. So this car has really suffered from mechanical issues yesterday. Just moved up the order, on Friday, moved up the order a bit yesterday, and it's great to see that sort of pinky Porsche out there again today, being driven really nicely by Zach and Nicola Hoey alongside him. This car had a bit of an issue yesterday. We saw it have a big moment. It was a great save from Brocklebank, just to keep the car on the road, frankly, after suffering a broken rear sway bar. That car looks a lot more stable today than what we saw on the way rower stage, sliding around with that broken sway bar, but yeah, looking a lot better now today. And I'm sure Robbie will be wanting to move up the order. Flicks it around the chicane. Always committed is Robbie, no exception there. The way it lunges from side to side, very, very nicely done. And that, incredibly, concludes competition already. It's a fast stage, this one, isn't it? Over in a heartbeat, just over 500 metres in length, Nick.
And Rob, of course, making the most of it, just leaving nothing on the table.
He'll potentially be one of the fastest cars just because of his commitment. He really is a committed driver. Obviously losing out in the horsepower battle, but what he loses in horsepower, he makes up in bravery and enthusiasm around the bends. So
but he must be a clear winner of the Bang for Bucks award, Dan, I would 100%. Think. You know, lots of bang and not too many bucks. So yeah, having a ball on a budget and thrilling the crowds as well, because he does really hammer that Toyota 16-valve engine.
Certainly does. That's one of his hallmarks. We heard it particularly on that first stage, wasn't it, or on the first day, sorry, I think it was Norton Summit, where it was just banging down the gears, really using the revs to slow the car down. We're now looking at the challenge cars out there on the stage, and they are not too far away. the first of the challenge class cars heading up the hill. It's the challenge leader, Joyce, leading by 90 seconds. It's been dominance for him in challenge so far this weekend. Pretty tight battle behind for second position. We will see them come through in a minute, but Joyce smooth, fast, as he has been all weekend long. Here is Badcock. Oh no, it isn't. No, it isn't. That is Tony Spry, I believe. Let's have a look. Look, that's caught me a bit by surprise. There should be a Mitsubishi Evo coming next, and that is not a Mitsubishi Evo. So what has happened to Badcock this morning? Was in second position by 10 seconds over this car, and is now missing. Or are we out of order? I think we are running out of order, because this is Bernie Stack. The running order is not being adhered to, so I'm going to get rid of the starting order list and talk about what I can see, which is Bernie Stack in his awesome 1970s Porsche heading up the hill in all the right sounds. And away goes the Escort, the sole remaining Escort of Dean Cook, sitting in sixth position, coming into today. Quite a margin behind Joe Raymond in the Rover, who rounds out the top 5. But, nevertheless, nice and fast through the flip-flop, over the bridge. With a committed run from Dean Cook, and you expect nothing less from Dean. Away we go, hand gestures from the navigator as the Nissan heads up the hill. That's Porthouse in the navigator's seat, signalling for Smith to take off up the stage. He does. These guys sitting just a couple of places behind the Escort, just over a minute behind in 8th position overall. And I can see the second place car taking off, and here it is. It's the car in second position, Badcock, just ahead of Tony Spry, as we say. Just 10 seconds coming into this. That was pretty neat through there, but maybe not as fast as he'd like. Not using all the road, I think taking it a bit easy. As we say, it's very easy to lose time on this stage, very hard to win a lot of time. It's a concise stage, and this is one of the crowd favourites, the Rover SD1. Just 8 seconds is Joe Raymond behind the Subaru STI of MAN, so it's all to play for 4th position. And this 1970s Rover SD1 has been a real crowd pleaser for many, many years. First competing in this rally over a decade ago, nearly 2 decades ago, in fact, in 2007. Bit of a wait before we see this one head up the hill. He said to me last night in Goocher Street, you can never waste a crowd. He said it on the live stream as well. So I'm certain that Joe Raymond is going to put on a good show for us. That is for certain. Texaco liveried machine, of course. Rover has a lot of history in touring car racing, particularly in Europe and Britain. Of course, the Tom Walkinshaw run Rovers. That's quite hard to say. Tom Walkinshaw run Rovers. There's a new tongue twister for you, a motorsport tongue twister. But yes, they were very, very well run in England for so many years, and with great success as well. Here we go. A bit of tyre smoke as it rolls away, but a pretty good start from Jai. It's going to be interesting to see how he approaches this. If he's lots of sideways, he's just putting on a show. If he's smooth and fast, he clearly wants that 4th position. And this looks smooth and fast to me. He flicks it through the flip-flop and around over the bridge. Really nice run this from Jai. Really, really well done. Not quite as nimble as the Subarus and WRX's Subarus and Evos ahead of him in the timing sheet, but certainly a good run. Nevertheless, here is the spry Subaru, the 614 car in third position, just 10 seconds behind Babcock. Babcock looked pretty tame through there just before, but this one looking a little bit more vicious. And it looks to me like we are seeing Lachlan Cox escort head up the hill at this particular point in time. And it looks like Nick's down there with a very keen race fan. I don't think he can hear me over the sound of the escort at the moment. Nick, you there?
Amanda and Susie. This is Susie. Susie, say hi to the folks at home. Amanda's a local resident, and she, like thousands of others, has come down here to watch the rally car and, of course, the main event, the Great Duck Race. Amanda, as a local resident, what do you think about this for Strathalbyn?
I think it's absolutely fantastic to see all these beautiful cars and these experienced drivers just through our historic town is wonderful. Brings so many people here. It's a great carnival event and lovely atmosphere and beautiful weather.
Well, Dan and I did our research this morning, 6,500 people in Strathalbyn. I think you probably add at least another 3,000 to it today. Do you have a business in the town, or do you work in the town?
Businesses to promote them and to build capacity and capability in their businesses so they grow stronger and with the challenging economic times to keep their doors open and thriving.
It's great that the Strathalbyn or the Alexandrina Council has embraced the event the way it has, together with the state government, of course, and hopefully there'll be an economic spin-off for the town generally and for the retailers.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, I'd like to compliment the Alexandrina Council and the state government for all the support they've given this event. We'd love to make it, whoopsie daisy, an annual event. It would be great for the town and great for the region, and we'd love to see it continue for years to come.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, echo those remarks. Absolutely, be great to have this event come back for years to come. Really, really well said. And this is the thing, everyone in Strathalbyn has fully got behind this event. Everyone's been saying, all the locals I've spoken to, how great this is, whether that be the bookshop owners, the pub owners, they all absolutely love this. And so does Jason, who's heading up the hill in his Citroen C4, using all the road and even more. And look at the beautiful Subaru heading up there as well, the 609 machine. This is the man car. He's just a couple of seconds ahead of Jai Raymond, so he wants to be fast through this challenge. Has a max speed of 130 kilometers an hour, so it's all about keeping the minimum corner speed up, and it's a real challenge, as the name suggests, for competitors to do that. Yeah, because you want to be keeping that minimum corner speed up as much as you possibly can. Flings it through the final chicane and concludes the challenge class. We've got through both competition and challenge in quick succession, and now we await the final class. Just 13 cars to come through now, the TSD category. This is the time, speed, distance category. It's all about trying to match the time set by the officials, so you're trying to match that time. If you're a second slower, you lose 1 second. If you're a second faster, you lose 5 seconds. So better off being a couple of seconds slower than you are a couple of seconds faster. It's a real challenge for drivers, that is for certain, to try and keep up that or try and hit that target. Proved a real struggle for some of them getting 900-second penalties in certain stages. It's been a bit of a giggle for some of them, but it's a serious category. They really do take TSD pretty seriously, and looking forward to seeing what they're going to do on this Strathalbyn stage. Will they throw caution to the wind? We'll see in just a few moments. While we await TSD, Hamish Eaton, one of the competitors we spoke to prior to the event, and this is what he has to say on.
Hamish Eaton, we've got a 1979 Porsche 911 done up as a 74 IROC car, and we're entered into the Adelaide Rally this year.
G'day, I'm David Herman. I'm Hamish's co-driver. I'll be helping him out this year with the navigation. Having started in the Spirit Tour, which was a lot of fun without any pressure of actually racing or being timed, when we've done the challenge competition last year, we enjoyed the timing, and we again didn't really feel any great pressure to be the fastest car there. And I think the TSD gives us an opportunity to work against the clock, but without that same pressure to go super fast.
One of the favourite stages is actually the shortest for me, which is the first stage of the day, which is the Beaumont stage. That's actually a road I drove most days of the week to and from work, and to get a chance to open up this little car on that road is almost feels naughty, but it's quite good fun because I know that road really, really well.
Bull Creek Road.
Yeah, Bull Creek's pretty good. We had a lot of fun in that last year.
We might have gone a little bit too fast.
Yeah, I think Rally Safe told us to slow down quite a number of times, but that's okay. That's what it's there for. So yeah, those longer stages, you get a bit of a rhythm up, and they're pretty good fun.
I think the unique thing about the Adelaide Rally is the accessibility to it, and for us, the proximity of the stages to the city. We have a central hub in the city. Every morning within half an hour, we're out racing in some fantastic locations and on some extraordinary roads, really right close into a lovely city.
It does limit how many times you have to fill a car up with petrol during the day, doesn't it, when the stages are closer? When the changes came in for the necessary upgrades you needed to compete in either challenge or competition, we found it better for us to go back to the Spirit Tour. And then after signing up for the Spirit Tour, the TSD became available, which I suppose gives everything of the challenge section that we did last year, but just a different maximum speed limit of 120 kilometres an hour, which we were used to, but without any changes to the safety of the vehicle. In that I consider it pretty safe already, but I didn't want to have to upgrade it with new seats, etc. Not that we'll be looking at times, Dave, I don't think.
No,
but the option is there.
I think the Adelaide Rally gives you a fantastic opportunity no matter what your experience level. If you really haven't done any rallying before and have got the bug, then the main tour or a branded tour is a perfect opportunity to see the roads, get an experience of what the event's like. And then as you become more serious, something like the Spirit Tour or now the TSD option gives you a chance to go a bit faster. And of course, if you've got lots of experience and you're serious, then the serious competition's always an option there and gives you a chance to really go hard.
There you go, you now know all about the TSD category, and we are awaiting the final field of cars, the final group of competitors to head out there onto the stage. There's a really nice a mixed bunch of cars, anything from a Volkswagen Beetle to a BMW M2 and all sorts in between. It's a bit of a shake-up in the order overnight. So we now have a new TSD rally leader, and we await the start of this category. Not too far away now from commencing the action. Looks like Nick is down there with the very Volkswagen Beetle driver I was just talking about.
As we have said, the oldest, or not the oldest car in the event, but probably the oldest car in TSD, just the Volkswagen Beetle. I'm just going to ask these guys what sort of a weekend they have had.
We've had a weekend full of fun. It's been a few ups, a few downs. Big learning curve. First time doing a rally, but absolutely having a ball.
First time in a rally. Wow, and we all know that few things in life work as well as a Volkswagen. You're not telling me that you actually had some hiccups along the way.
With the engine or with the car, no. It was built and designed by Gordon, so the engine's in tip-top nick. It's just learning what we've got to do in the meantime with TSD.
Now, TSD we have talked about at length because it's a curious category. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Some guys just want to go as fast as they can possibly go. But this is something completely different, and yet everyone who's in TSD loves it and wants to do it again, and they tell me it's fiercely intense. Is that true?
Absolutely correct. There's lots to think about. It's well suited to this car, and sweet.
Sorry, we didn't quite pick up that audio. Can we have that again?
Sure. So TSD is a lot to think about, but it seems that it's really well suited to this car. I've got a great navigator, so it's been going well for us. I think it's a great category.
And look, speaking of navigators, how do you go doing maths on the fly?
I don't have to, I just need to drive.
You just leave the hard jobs for the other guys.
Absolutely spot on, yep.
Right, have a really good run, guys. Hope you see us at the finish.
Sweet, thanks a lot.
So yes, TSD, great interview there and insight with Nick. And great to see these cars heading up the hill. So this is Latkins heading up there, Bill Latkins in the BMW M2. Is he going to throw caution to the wind, try and impress the crowd? Or is he thinking about those penalty points? Of course, you don't want to accumulate any penalty points. You want to hit that target. So he makes his way through the end of the stage. The target time for these guys in this stage, as you say, a very short stage, is 53 seconds. You can almost count them as you're going around, but you do have a bit more to think about than that. And you can see that from the Renault, who I think this Renault has thrown caution to the wind, as I was just saying. This is Chris Oldacre, who's in contention for the TSD victory. So were the Zitvels, but again yesterday they accumulated quite a few penalty points and finished the day second in the order. Third. They slipped behind Anthony Daly. It's Oldacre that's now leading in that Renault from Anthony Daly, and then Colin Zitveld alongside Troy Zitveld in their Mercedes A45, which we are seeing go up the hill. They're veterans of this class, and as we say, sit third at the moment. Now we've got a Hyundai. Ooh, a bit of understeer there, but nice racing line. This is a committed run here from the Hyundai. This is Anthony Daly, as we say, led after day number one, and picked up very few penalty points yesterday, but nothing compared to Chris Oldacre. There's hardly any penalty points picked up from Chris. Here is the Volkswagen Beetle. The 505 of Tracy Harris, who you just spoke to, Nick, and yeah, they are loving their first, not just Shannon's Adelaide rally, but rally full stop, and giving it a little bit through the chicane as well is Tracy. A little bit wide there, certainly trying to put on a bit of a show for the crowd. Of course, with the Beetle, you can actually push a bit harder. The average speed normally for a stage is about 70. That's what the target time is. It's around 70 kilometres an hour. In a Mustang, it's hard to keep it below 70 kilometres an hour, but in a Beetle, you'll be pushing flat out and just about reaching 70 kilometres.
Dan, in the words of Monty Python, that is no ordinary Beetle. If you have a look through that little slit in the bonnet there, you'll see that it's multiple choke carburetors, good exhaust, and I'd say it's probably a bit bigger engine than previously. And I don't think there was any shortage of mumbo in that car. Built by the co-driver, probably at home. So great, but you could just tell by the way she spoke how much fun they were having in the class and how much they've enjoyed their first rally.
Absolutely. And everyone has enjoyed this stage. Absolutely everyone. The crowd, the drivers, and even the volunteers, and everybody as well. Us two included in that. A bit of wheel spin there. A bit of smoke coming off the burnt rubber of the Nissan Skyline, who turns it into turn number 2. That's Stephen Engel at the wheel of this machine. You can smell it. You can smell the burning rubber through the commentary box window. That's a lovely smell to wake you up in the morning, isn't it? But I'm sure the local residents of Strathalbyn have been awake for quite some time with some of the cars that have come through this stage. Another one with a burst of wheel spin and some tyre smoke off the start. That's the Peugeot 207 driver of Joseph Vitalago. Don't have too many competitors left. There's just a couple after this, but one of your favourites is included in that, the Graham Modra Ford Escort.
Nothing like a Mark 1 bubble arch Escort.
And here it is. You might be able to hear it as it roars into turn number 1 in the iconic Golf liveries. You don't really associate Golf with Escorts, do you?
No, more with Porsches.
No,
I would say at Le Mans.
Yes, exactly. More with Porsche. Exactly where my mind was thinking. But anyway, it does look good on an Escort as he flicks it through the flip-flop and over the bridge. This is a really, it's a short stage, but as we've seen, it's quite a tricky stage.
It is quite tricky, and that's the whole idea of building a compact little stage like this and bringing the rally to the people, which is what modern rallying does. It's the same with the World Rally Championship. They always have a super special where you get to the cars get to more spectators. I went to Rally Portugal one year, and the super special stage was just incredible. I've never seen so many people. There was a multi-storey block of apartments alongside the circuit, and people were just hanging out of this block of apartments. There were thousands of people on the balconies.
Yes, quite remarkable. And there we see the next car is a sweep car. So that means that the TSD class has all run through. And that concludes all of the action from the inaugural Strathalbyn Town Stage. What a brilliant addition, Nick, to the Shannon's Adelaide Rally.
Incredible. And look, I would put money on this being back next year, probably by demand of the Alexandrina Council, the people of Strathalbyn, the retailers of Strathalbyn, the business owners. It has been a boon day for the whole town. Not to outshine the Great Duck Race, Dan, which it's unrivaled.
It certainly is. I was just about to say, if you're listening to us on the PA around Strathalbyn, the Duck Race Grand Final is on in just over 25 minutes, 2:15, the Grand Final of the Duck Parade, and the steam train will depart from here at 3 o'clock, so make sure you're on that if you're heading back to the city on the train. So still lots to look forward to. The markets are still open over the other side of the river as well. The rally may have concluded here in Strathalbyn, but there is still plenty to see and do in the Strathalbyn region. It's been a great honour to call the inaugural Strathalbyn Town Stage, that's for certain, Nick.
It has, and as Dan says, plenty still to do in town. The Victoria Hotel is right in front of us, where they filmed Picnic at Hanging Rock. Hammer and Tongs Cafe just down the road. There's another hotel directly behind us, and a short wander through the side streets. You can go to the Kenny Blake Memorial Motorcycle Statue. Kenny Blake, a world-class motorcycle racer who came out of the town of Strathalbyn.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, thanks very much, everyone. This was the last live-streamed stage of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally this year. Thanks very much to the Streamcraft team, a local team that do such an amazing job with the images that you've seen. We've got to thank the sponsors, Shannon's, Bosch, and Calder Wealth Management as well, and the Napa Motorsports Academy. I'm Dan McCarthy. Nick Lenthal has been beside me throughout. There's a few stages to go. Make sure you head into the city to see the trophy presentations this afternoon. But we have concluded our live stream of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally 2023. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next year.
Thanks, Dan.